20 years from now, they'll be speaking about the period that we're living now, of the great something. And I don't know what the something word is yet. You know when the Great Depression became to refer to the 1930s? In 1955, when it was safely behind us. We are in the middle of it today. And I suggest for those who have the leisure to read the newspapers of the 1930s. You'll find the headlines of today. We're in full denial. Anyway, that's the worst of times. And we're still in denial about it. It's also the best of times. I looked at 5,000 years of written history on money systems. And the sad conclusion is that there has never been preventive change in the monetary domain. One needs to wait until the previous system has died, that it has lost completely credibility, and then one builds up something new. I find it very sad because for the last 15 years I've been trying to avoid the situation we're in and have completely miserably failed. Nothing moves. We have not learned anything over 5,000 years. So now we're in the middle of it. But I think there are opportunities. It is a good of times. Well, first of all, how many of you have actually ever had a course of economics? Wow, I'm an enlightened economic audience here. Well, let's ask a couple of questions that you probably haven't heard of. Who creates money? Okay. How many of you think it is the government? It used to be, say, 5 years ago, that I had 70% of the people saying yes. We've learned something in the last 3-4 years. That the governments are against the wall and they can't create money. Well, who believes it's the central bank, the European Central Bank? Okay. And who believes it's someone else? Good, good. Does someone else have it? Normally, it's not the central bank. They only do that when nobody else does it. Which they're trying to do now, at least in the US on large scale. The other illusion is that we Europeans can kind of isolate ourselves from what's happening in the world. I have a strong feeling that even the people who manage central banks have not adjusted to the idea we're in floating exchanges. When Americans pump trillions of dollars in the economy, it ends up, say, in the Russian mafia who buys up real estate in the south of France. So the Banque de France has nothing to do about that, and the European Central Bank has nothing to do about that. It's a complete illusion that we can kind of, within the current system, isolate ourselves from that stuff. And we still kind of play to the games as if we are. Anyway, now, how is money created? Is it printing presses? That's the expression, right? Anybody believes that? Good. Is it debt with banks? Yes, yes. Anybody believes anything else? Okay. Anyway, every euro you have seen, every dollar you have seen, every yen you have seen is someone's debt. It can be government debt, it can be corporate debt, it can be private debt, but it is debt. If the entire world tried to reimburse their debt, and if you read the newspapers that they're always talking, assessing whether you're going to reimburse the debt, it is impossible mathematically. Mathematically. Why? When the debt is created, the interest is not created. So if everybody reimbursed their debt, nobody would be able to pay the interest. Okay? So everybody goes bankrupt. So we are in a very strange system. Now, is there somewhere a law that says that if you use something else than euros, you're going to prison? Okay, how is it that we only use one currency? And in the old days, every country had one currency. You know, now we have a euro, one currency. That doesn't make the difference. Only one currency is the real currency. Is that because it's better? Is it nicer printed? What's the story here? Okay? So, how is that monopoly enforced? Is there a law? Anybody believe that? Nobody believes that. Wow. Okay, let me ask the next one. Is it by taxes? All right. So I'm concluding that there is one person who knows. That you was never told in any of the courses of economics you ever had. Since 1971, officially, and since I would say the late 19th century de facto, all money that exists in the world, all bank debt money, is called fiat money. Say it in Latin to make sure you don't understand. It used to be the opposite, 5 centuries ago. Fiat money means it's the word that God said in Genesis. Fiat lux, let light be. And the next sentence is, and light was, and he saw it was good. It is the capacity to create something out of nothing by the power of the word. Wow. All right? So, next time you see your banker, kneel down. So that's where we are. Now, there you had a course, right? Everyone has heard in their course of economics, and everybody in this room had actually a course in economics, apparently. So, what is money? Well, here is what they usually say, right? They say it's a unit of account, a medium of exchange, a store of value. That's the classical stuff. That's not true. That's not what money is. That is what money does. You understand the difference? If we didn't have a word for saying transport, and we only had horses, would anybody ever have thought about a bicycle or a car? You can't even talk about it. You would be improving horses, wouldn't you? So by defining it as functions, everything is covered. We don't need anything else. Everything is fine. Right? Here's my definition. Money is an agreement. An agreement lives in your head. That doesn't make it not real. Try marriage, right? It's an agreement. It's an agreement to use something standardized as a medium of exchange in a particular community. It used to be a country community, now it is a European community, it is whatever the scale is that you want to deal with. That is what money is. The nice thing about an agreement is when agreements don't work, you can change them. When it's in functions, there's nothing to change. Anyway, I'm going to just give you a few examples of the stuff that I suspect this crisis will make possible and is in the process of happening. There's one, just 3 months ago in October, I was in Lithuania setting up a learning society with a new currency. The second one is a Torcus, which has been started in the city of Ghent, here in Flanders, in 2010. And we just have the 1-year result. And I'm going to talk about the last one, which could be, for example, a solution to what happens in Greece. So, learning. I chose that example because we are in the context of a learning institution here, Howest. The way we are taught is typically by a lecture, like I'm doing now, or I give you a reading. You will remember 5% of what you heard. You will remember 10% of what you read. Not terribly efficient. The best way is for you to teach each other. Okay? So how about putting that in action? Now, Lithuania is a small country. It's about 2 times the size of Belgium. And it has about 1/3 of the population of Belgium. It has 2 claims to fame. It is the highest penetration of fiber broadband in the world. They just passed in 2010 Sweden. And the second thing, they have 120% penetration of mobile phones. Even the babies apparently must have them. No, it's actually SIM cards, okay? But very, very well connected society infrastructure-wise. And the objective is that every Lithuanian becomes at least trilingual by 2014. And the whole agenda is intergenerational learning. Here's how it works. We set up a Lithuanian Learning Foundation. That Lithuanian foundation issues a currency called Doras. And the Doras go to end users. And the end user has a dream. The dream, for example, of one of the youngsters that was in my audience there, was a 17-year-old. He wanted to learn Buddhism actually Vipassana Buddhism in Burma, in the mountains in Burma. Well, good. And he speaks English fluently. So we bargained, and we basically said, all right, for $3,000, the foundation will realize his dream. And how does he realize his dream? By doing a number of things. He teaches other people what he knows. And both the people that teach and the people who learn both get Doras to realize their own dreams. There was a girl who wanted to spend the weekend with her hero. It's a Nobel Prize of Physics. Well, we'll arrange that to happen. We have a group that wants to learn sailing to go at a quality level to go around the world. Well, we can do that. Now, the non-profits play a role in that because they are organizing that just like businesses organize the conventional economy. So, Dora is a learning currency. It is a mobile phone unit. The teenagers train the entire adult population how to use the internet more efficiently. Both the users, the youngsters, and the older ones get their Doras. If you don't have a dream anymore, no problems. You can give it to someone who will. You know, can have gifts. There is an online national archive. That's one of my favorites. Children in primary school interviewing people who are over 75 with the one question: what is it that you learned in your life that's useful for my time? And if you do a simply audio tape, then you have 50 Doras. If you do a multimedia product, you have 200 Doras. And every year we do have a competition for the 10 best contributions. And we have 1,000 Doras. All right? What does that cost to the government? Electronic bits. Okay? Anyway, second example, Ghent. The poorest community of all of Flanders. Majority Turkish language. 20 different languages spoken. The highest density of population in the area. So we asked for their dream. And the dream was little gardens, 4 square meters of land, because they come from Anatolia. And everybody had land there. And in Ghent, there is not a square meter available for them. They live in towers. They live in big buildings. So the city gives them land. And they do this. And that land is available for rent. This becomes a future factory, by the way. It's between building sites. And they pay, the rent can only be paid in Torques. So here is what it looks like. 10 Torques, 1 Torque. And with that, you can buy stuff, not only rent your little garden, but also buy fresh vegetables, buy low-energy lamps and stuff like that in the shops. And you create a whole economy, a local economy that doesn't exist otherwise. How do you earn these Torques? By doing, first of all, cleaning up the neighborhood and keeping it clean. By putting flowers on the side, on the street side, on your window. You get 100 Torques for that. Here is planting a common area. Results, 50,000 Torques have been earned. 8,000 have been used for rent, and the other have been mostly used for groceries and transport. And movies are popular too. Now, we need more than one currency. That's the consequence of having a single rail to deal with issues. But we need to get out of the box. And that box is belief that you need everything with a single currency. Here's what Greece could do. Why does Greece not stay in the euro for everything that's international? Tourism, shipping, imports and exports of goods and services with the rest of Europe, and create a second currency, exactly as you were talking about, civics. Okay? A civic is issued by the government. Okay? And it gives it value by requiring a contribution in it, just like they do for the euro. The result? Here's what we do today. You have a cooperative economy that is starving to death. It's only funded through non-profit organizations and some subsidies. Here's the alternative. You still have a competitive economy, you create a cooperative economy. You still pay your taxes on the competitive activities. But the government also asks, the city government asks for civics. And who creates the civics? The city. That's simple. You solve your problem. You can solve, instead of actually starving everybody to death, which was happening in Greece, this is a systemic solution. Conclusion. That's not new. Second reason, we are in systemic failure, slow motion, as we speak. The next one, after the euro crisis, is going to be this. The interesting part of it is not the artistic value, it's the origin. Third reason, we are dealing with value shifts. All patriarchal societies have always done what we do today, impose a single currency with interest rates. And that has created the industrial age. Without it, it wouldn't have happened. However, it also is the boom and bust cycle. It concentrates wealth, and it's incompatible with community. Every matrifocal society has a dual currency system. You have the same kind of patriarchal currency for long-distance trade, people you don't know, but you have a second currency that you use in your own community. And that is created by the people themselves. We have had this for more than 1,000 years, actually 1,600 years, in Egypt. The secret for the Egyptian economy was there. We had it in the Central Middle Ages. When our cathedrals were built, they were funded with this dual currency system. And they were honoring a woman or lady. And the final reason, the solution, the classical solution in the situation we're in now, is getting ready for war. That is how we have ever done it so far. I think it is time to get out of that particular railroad track. A balance between the masculine and the feminine, or we don't have a future on this planet. That is what is the message here. That's what the result when you try to do too much with a single tool. And I believe there's another tool available. Thank you.